Even more facts and scandal surrounding the Biden email case have now emerged, just in case you needed more. So far, the left has tried to deny the existence of the laptop. They failed. They tried to censor discussion of the laptop. You conservatives stopped them. And they also tried to slander Rudy Giuliani as a pervert when he alleged that Hunter engaged in sex with a minor. Now that one's just failed too. A sex tape and many images have emerged. We've just seen them just before recording. They include Hunter Biden engaging in sex with someone who may or may not be a minor, smoking crack, images of him with his dead brother's wife. It's disgusting and it's wretched, but it also has ramifications way above a personal level. The existence of tapes like this open Hunter to an unprecedented level of blackmail, whether it was a minor or not. More tapes like this definitely exist. Hunter's personality makes it impossible for them not to. We need to have a serious conversation. Is Joe Biden compromised through his son, and was he compromised when he was VP? We're going to be answering that question for you today and analysing the ramifications of this video. This is Political. My name's Connor Allen, and I'm here with my co-host, chief analyst, Ryan Smith.
Hello, everyone.
And before we begin, guys, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Please do like the video if you're enjoying the content. Leave a comment down below whether you agree or disagree. We certainly saw lots of people who disagreed with us in the last video, and that's okay.
They
that's
couldn't
okay.
quite explain why, but
Couldn't quite explain why, but it's okay. You know, no one's perfect. So do leave a comment. And with no further ado, let's jump right into this newest batch of Biden emails.
Yeah, so this is the absolute biggest revelation of the whole scandal, really. And there were murmurs among people who had access to the laptop saying that such a video existed, and my instinct was that they were telling the truth, and it turns out they were. The real question here is, where has the video come from, and who are the entities involved in publishing it? And that is still unclear, and it may not be that the story that we're being told is correct. So this is from the Washington Examiner. They say multiple videos and images purportedly showing Hunter Biden engaging in sexual acts with several women and using drugs were uploaded on a Chinese digital video platform Saturday evening. The videos and images appear to be uploaded by a single user on GTV, with many of the photos seemingly from a third-party laptop. GTV, a subsidiary of GTV Media Group, was founded in April 2020 by Chinese billionaire Guo Wengui and Steve Bannon, a former senior advisor to President Trump. US presidential candidate Joe Biden, this is what the video says in the kind of screen cards. US presidential candidate Joe Biden is 100% controlled by the Chinese Communist Party as one of the most successful political instances of the BGY program. The BGY program being a supposed program that the CCP has, where they use kind of, intelligence, bribery, and things like female operatives, using them as honey traps and this kind of thing to get material to blackmail people on or bribe them with or whatever. The text in one of the video reads, he is also a target of the CCP's 3F plan, which aims to fall, fail, and fell into to weaken, destroy, and kill America. The Washington Examiner confirmed earlier this week that Biden had access to the contents of the hard drive believed to be belonging previously to Hunter Biden. Guo has been accused by the Chinese government of committing fraud, blackmail, and bribery, and is a current fugitive living in the United States, when Biden himself was indicted on fraud charges in August. So, really, the question is here, where has this video come from? Has it come from Steve Bannon, who has got it off the laptop, and he's trying to force a narrative here that, the Chinese government have it, and some whistleblowers in the Chinese government who are against the CCP, like Guo Wengui, have uploaded this, and they're the one, and the laptop is separate. Is that what's happened, or is it actually, as it says it is, and that these are people within that are against the Chinese government, living in China, or operatives in China, or whatever, who are saying, the Chinese government has this? Is it legit what they're saying? I mean, this is the thing that's hard to determine right now. One thing is for sure, though, is that absolutely all of the this image that we've built up of the character of what we think Hunter Biden is like, it certainly appears to be true, because yet more and more evidence now is just streaming out. It can't all be fake. It can't all be Russian misinformation, right? So it's clear that Hunter Biden is, whether or not this has come from the Chinese government or whatever, it's clear that, he is a huge liability to Joe. And all this does really is just raise even more and more questions.
This is the crux of the matter, isn't it? Because actually, it doesn't matter where the tape comes from. I think it doesn't matter how it was used. The fact is that it was made. Okay, it's not just one sex tape. It's hundreds and hundreds of videos, pictures, images of him with women. Some of them might be minors, some of them might not be. It depends on who's making the allegation. Exist. They can be used by foreign governments to blackmail him. So we have two questions. Will it compromise Joe Biden in the future? Almost certainly yes, because guess what? He's not going to change his personality overnight. And has it compromised Joe Biden in the past when he was vice president? He was getting up to all sorts in Ukraine, in China, so on. I think I'm put beyond, although while we don't have any evidence, I'm put beyond significant doubt by Hunter Biden's personality, and he just seems to always be up to this sort of stuff, right? I think there's a very, very serious question just there. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about what we know, right? So we know now that obviously Hunter Biden has been dealing in China. He's been doing various business deals in China, and he's been looking to enrich himself by doing various stuff with people involved with the CCP or whatever, a rich Chinese businessman. We know that, and obviously his former business partner now is coming out, and he's handed over his emails and his phones and all this kind of stuff, and he's kind of given us all that information along with what we've already seen from the laptop. So we know that Hunter Biden has a lot of dealings in China, and we know that he is the type of character because of his issues with drugs, which, I don't want to have a go at him for that, because many people fall victim to this kind of thing, obviously. But what it does mean, being the high-profile person that he is, that he becomes a liability. So we know that he's a liability, and we know that he's been in China doing a lot of stuff here. We know that the Chinese government has serious motive to get material on him that they can use to influence and blackmail American politicians, obviously, and hopefully their intention will be to influence Joe Biden. So it's not as if things don't weigh up here to suggest that this is a real possibility, that the information that we're seeing is accurate and true. So all of the sort of signs point that, even if we don't know for sure, it certainly is very, very plausible that is the case, that the Chinese government has even more damning information and material on Hunter Biden. I guess the question is, do they have any on Joe, or would he be influenced by this? I don't know. I think the problem is, it's only 10 days towards the election now, or less than 10 days before the election now. So we may not even get the information that we need, and we could end up in this. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Americans deserve to know all of this before they go to vote. And influence doesn't just mean that, blackmailing Joe Biden over this. It can mean many things. Hunter set up a meeting with Joe. We've already seen this. Get these people who own this business into the same room with Joe Biden, and they'll make their case, and then they'll make a shady deal. Then that will, go on through. Many things can be done with a man in his position under the Chinese government's thumb. And what have the Democrats done? They've done nothing about it. They've denied its existence. They've called it a slander campaign, but the material is there. We've just seen it. They're open to influence.
Yeah, well, this is the concern. As long as they continue to just not even address this, it just concerns me more and more, really. And I don't know, like it honestly is. This isn't really just about like ideology or policy or anything anymore. This is about potentially having someone in the White House, the most powerful person in the world, being severely compromised by an enemy. They're not just America's enemy; they're the enemy of the West. We've seen that. Hundreds of millions of people's lives and livelihood can be severely influenced here by the actions of Joe Biden if he was to be president.
He's meant to be representing America. Who knows if he gets that office? Who the hell knows just who, in whose interest he is acting? But let's move a bit forward. Like, how do you think this will affect the election?
Well, like I said, we're so close to it now at this point. I think this story again will be on the fringe. A lot of people probably aren't going to see it, not going to know about it, and because the left obviously has that argument that they can use now, that Russian bogeyman or whatever, to just try and dismiss things. A lot of people will just be influenced and bought by that tactic. If this had happened, I don't know. I just think if this had happened earlier on, then certainly it could have had a big influence. I'm not sure how much of an influence it will have right now. I think, though, however, the damage has already been done to the extent that it can be with the whole Hunter Biden scandal. And I think there has been some severe damage done by it. But I think this latest revelation probably isn't going to have like a huge impact just because it's so close. I think the damage has already been done in regard to Hunter Biden.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there have been people who've already voted. Well, I started, obviously, it's just Twitter, but I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who've been asking if they can change their vote and things like that. So I think even if Joe Biden does win the election, in spite of this huge scandal, I think the first few days of his administration could be devoted to dealing with this scandal and the fallout. And, God forbid, what about criminal charges? What if this is investigated further? Regardless of whether Joe wins or not, this must be investigated, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, it must be. And I think once the election is over, I mean, listen, at this point, I still, my belief is that Trump will win anyway. Luckily, but should Biden win, and obviously it is a close one. It's certainly neck and neck for lack of a better term. So there is a real possibility that it will be, and I imagine that if that is the case, I don't know, the Democrats probably won't even be too concerned about the idea of him going, and then having Harris sort of taken over in that scenario anyway. I think the media, once the election is over and they no longer have a motive to ignore this, might start to report on it, because once Trump's gone, they're going to need something to report on, aren't they? Because that's what they've just been piggybacking off now for years. So but I think right now, anyway, the point is it's really difficult to formulate an accurate opinion of what any of this even means, because we're just waiting on the details. But I do think, listen, obviously, I do expect in the next few days we will see more and more details emerge from this, and more information that will give us an idea of exactly what all this means. And if you haven't already, this is the place to find out about that information. So if you do enjoy the content, please do consider subscribing. And as always, thank you to everyone who does support us, and we'll see you in the next one.